Okay, excellent. So I told everybody. And by the way, I'm really sorry about postponing the live stream several days. I had a flu, which became a really nasty bronchitis. I never had that. It was completely unexpected, and it's been a couple of very rough weeks. I don't know if it's the age or the kids or nature who wants to exterminate us. I don't know, but it wasn't pretty. So thank you for hanging on in there, and now I'm ready. Everything, I think it's all this has compiled everything. So let me see. Excellent. Okie dokie. Hey all, thank you for joining the stream. Okay. Are you hearing the audio from the game? I think you should. Hang on. Okay, we have many more people online now. Cool. So, Asylum. As you can see, we have been working a lot on many aspects of the interface, the presentation of the game. Something I learned from Scratches is that many people don't know about adventure games, and for many fans, Scratches was the first adventure that they played. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case with Asylum as well. So we have created a very straightforward tutorial to always let you know during the beginning of the game, to make you acquainted with the interface. So this is the menu. I have been showing you a bit about it in videos, in Discord, in my updates. So we wanted to make this menu as immersive as the rest of the game. This is something that you're going to be using a lot, not just to save games, okay, or load games. So we are really proud with this with this element. As you can see, it's very polished. You can, of course, you can save games. You have a screen capture, some details about the game progress, the location. Now, note that while the date is the actual date in real life, the time is the time in the game itself. So Asylum takes place during a single night. Okay, you start at 7 p.m. and by the time the story is over, you have spent a whole night in the asylum, and we are using hours as if they were chapter marks. In the same way, days were the sort of chapters in Scratches. Scratches took place within 3 days. So you could think of them. You can think as if they were three chapters. In the case of Asylum, you're going to have 10 chapters, so to speak. Okay, it's not like it's not like it's there's a cliffhanger between chapters or anything like that. They're just separations in the story, and the whole idea is that as you approach the end of the game, the time passing by will start feeling, will start putting more pressure as you approach the climax of the story. So it's going to get very, very tense near the end of the game. This is something I hear a lot about Scratches, and that people, I mean, how the game became very tense in the end. So this is exactly what we're trying to do with Asylum as well. Anyway, I don't plan to save or anything now, but let me show you the settings screen. And just a sec. Yes, the horn, of course. Yes. I'm going to show you the horn. Give me just a second because I'm not logged in Twitch here and I can't see the chat room. I have the tablet right here and it's more comfortable to check out the chat room. Okay, hang on. Yes. Okay. And yes, the car, of course. Okay, before the car, this is the settings menu, and we received feedback about this. We know that it's fancy because all the settings have a sort of mood as well. So visual quality is visual acuity, as in how the character sees. So if we put it very low, or maybe just low, so that it doesn't recompile shaders, the game becomes a little bit pixelated. High is just about the perfect setting for everyone. So we have been running a lot of tests here, and even in very old computers, high works well. Very low is retro, and I think you can play the game in like very old computers really. And about the left-handed setting, you're going to see now when I open the journal in the game that it appears on the left side of the screen. So since it's on the left side of the screen, the character would be writing with his right hand. So if you press left-handed, we are going to invert that interface element, so the journal will appear to the right side of the screen, and we are also going to invert the mouse buttons. So we really need to test this with backers, with maybe with some testers when we are ready to do some beta testing. But we think it's going to be a worthwhile feature to have. Okay, so with subtitles, audio settings, all the the drill. So something else I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a couple of examples about this. The menu is also the a repository of the achievements in the game. So when I say achievement, it's optional things and others not so optional that you can discover as you make progress in the story. So if you don't like achievements, you can completely ignore these pages. But the idea, and we have 2 pages now, we're going to have many more pages with more achievements. The idea is that you can collect these secrets and details of the game. So for example, evaluation of memory are the flashbacks that you experience in the game. So as you are walking in the asylum, you're going to experience a flashback of a past event in which you were the protagonist somehow, and that flashback is a clue towards it's a clue about the story of the game. And the more flashbacks you see, the more you will understand the whole story. Anyway, let me close this. And yes, let's enter in the car, and we can honk. And that's, you can honk, and you can turn on the radio if you want to. And by the way, important, Uh, this build is fairly polished, but we are preparing a demo update for all our Kickstarter backers. So we are still working on the sound effects and the texts. So this isn't quite final yet. So I have revised all the texts in the game. We haven't still imported all these new elements into the game. So you may see maybe some grammar errors here and there. Don't worry about that. Some of the stuff we have on this build still a bit temporary. So this is important. Let me show you how this works. So if you want to enter the asylum, you're gonna get a feedback. The protagonist will say, just remember that I forgot to grab my notepad. So if you forgot to grab your notepad, you can go back to the car and take it, and that's it, the notepad. And this is what I was telling about you before. You can open the notepad like this. And the notepad is a very interesting interface element. And we use it a lot. It's crucial for the game because you're going to see that we have two tabs now. We have tasks and we have topics. Okay. So tasks are the actual tasks, the ongoing tasks that you need to do in the current game. So the first task is of course enter the institute, which is really simple. Okay, so you just arrive and you need to enter the institute. So if you don't remember the story, you are an ex-patient of this asylum, and you're experiencing visions, strange visions and hallucinations, and you don't know what they mean yet. And believing that the building is abandoned, you arrive one afternoon with the intention of exploring the building and maybe figuring out what's going on with you. And that's how the game begins. You just need to enter the institute. And if you click on the topics, you have the topic that is your condition. And if you need if you forgot about the topic, or you need to remember what it's about, you can click on it, and it's saying I'm done with this subject. I don't know why it's saying that, because it should say, I may have forgotten to import that line, but anyway, if you click on Enter the Institute, you have a more interesting line. Anyway, you can have many tasks at the same time, of course, and you can have many topics at the same time. I'm going to show you how that works now. Okay. Give me just a second. The chats isn't. I don't have the updated chat here, so I can't see everything you're saying. I mean, what the heck is going on with this? Yes, please log me in. I want to log in Twitch here as well. Oh, okay. Hang on. There we go. There we go. Yes. Just a second, please. You cannot Yes, maybe 30, 40 more minutes now. Not a whole lot longer. Is something not working for you? Just a second. Twitch, yes, please. Traffic lights. Okay. I am recording this, so don't worry. This will be recorded. Okay. What? Oh, for God's sake. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Twitch refuses to log me in my tablet, so anyway, I just keep an eye. I just switch Windows, whatever. Damn you, Twitch. Okay. I'm going to enter the asylum then. Okay, so cool. Okay, so this first conversation is very important, and it's a challenge that I have in the game because it needs to be weird in a way, unexpected, because the asylum isn't abandoned and there's people inside, and they give you a reason why the asylum is being reopened. It's a good reason, and you have to believe that somehow. And at the same time, during the conversation, you get permission to explore the asylum. And I use the conversation to give you some information about what's happening, about what to expect, and it needs to be as believable as possible. So I'm not going to show you the entire conversation now because it's also, I don't want to spoil it yet. Some backers have played this already, and I got a lot of feedback from them, and it's been invaluable. So this whole conversation has been reworked so that we can communicate you, the players, a sense of or urgency that you have. I mean, why you have one night to do this. There's a reason why you have one night, why you can spend only one night in the asylum. And I need to make sure that when Julia, she is called Julia, when Julia gives you permission to explore the asylum, it's believable. It's something that it's convincing why she allows you to do this. And it's been a challenge because at the same time I want to introduce this sense of weirdness that's going to stick throughout the entire game, you know? So it begins weird, it ends really, really weird, okay? But let me show you a little bit about how this interface works. Julia is waiting your input now, okay? Why are you here? So if you pick this option, enter the institute, which is your first pending task, you can trigger a new conversation. This is an uncomfortable situation. I was hoping to explore the place, but why? That's not legal because the building is off limits to the public. And yeah, well, okay, anyway, I really wanted to because something is happening to me and I was hoping I could do this. But anyway, the point here is that when you speak about this with Julia, a new option, you may have seen a pop-up in the upper right corner of the screen saying journal updated. So if you go to topics now, you're going to have a new topic, which is the process of reopening. I mean, what process of reopening are we talking about here? So if you pick this option, you're going to elaborate on this topic. The idea of the topics, the best way to explain this to fans of adventure games is that these are your dialogue branches. So the topics become your dialogue branches. And you can keep asking about the single topic, all the times you want. But at some point, a topic is over. Like there's nothing else we need to discuss about this. The topic is done. And the way to think about this, what we are doing in the game to train players so that they become acquainted with these topics, is that they are persistent, okay? So a new topic may appear during a conversation that, as you keep talking with a particular character, you may conclude that topic and it's crossed out in your notepad. But it could happen that it's a very important topic, and once you stop talking to the character, the topic remains, and you can go to another character in the game and discuss about that topic. So in the end, this is like a shared dialogue tree between all characters in the game, and it works. It works fairly well, and we are happy about it, because once you stop talking to a character, the important topics remain, and you can just open your notepad anytime you want in the game and consult those topics. And there's another one, past history, and that's how it works. Are you asking questions now? We cannot see anything. Oh. Okay. Yes, there's a lot of lag. Like yes. So I should be back now. I should be back. I'm really sorry. I have a good connection. I think it must be the servers here. I don't know. I'm going to try YouTube next time. Hello all, and I'm really sorry. It's about the technical issues. There's always technical issues. So the game is lagging. Okay. Don't worry. I'm going to edit the video and post it, okay? So don't worry about this. Okay, let me go back to the game, and the game should work better now. Maybe the game was lagging because when this is an Unreal editor, when it loses focus, the game runs slowly. It should work well now. Anyway, to recap, in case you missed this, the notepad is a sort of dialogue tree for all the characters in the game, and it's a persistent dialogue tree. Some of these topics, they're going to be crossed out during a conversation, but the really important ones are going to remain. So when I stop talking to Julia, I can consult about these topics anytime I want, okay? And we design the game in a way that this never becomes overwhelming. So you have a bunch of topics here, and when the time passes by, we do a bit of cleanup about topics that are no longer important. So we are happy about this, and it seems to be working like really well. We are always listening to feedback from backers, and we're also going to be conducting a beta testing, of course, when the time comes. And but so far so good. Note that on the People tab, we also keep track of the characters that are introduced in the game. So we know Julia mentions a certain Dr. Miller, and meeting Dr. Miller becomes a task in the game later in the game. So anyway, I'm going to bypass this dialogue with Julia because I don't want to spoil all of it, and it's not completely final yet. This is something we are wrapping up this section of the game next week, and then we're going to share this with backers and we're going to listen to their feedback because since the previous demo that we shared several months ago, a lot has changed and we are very eager to hear what they think. So I'm going to press Alt J and now I can close the conversation. That's it. Okay, so let me show you a bit about the environment. This is the foyer. Okay, as I was telling you a little bit before, this is a pre-rendered location, and we are always ensuring that navigating the asylum always feels, good. So I click here. You can always the hotspots, right? To move to a different node, they're always very carefully located so that the movement feels as natural as possible. I mean, we have some restrictions. Again, we can't move freely across this environment, and that's the whole point. I mean, this is why we are able to have some really detailed graphics. This is doing this in actual 3D. I don't think it's possible. It's way beyond our capabilities anyway. I think making this game in 3D will cost a budget of several $1 million, which we don't have at all. But anyway, this is a format that we are very comfortable with. We do think this is the best possible format for Asylum. Why? Because it allows you to concentrate on your surroundings instead of moving quickly around. So as you arrive to this hotspot, you can have a quick glimpse and you have a painting, just like in Scratches. Lots of paintings you can look at. You have chairs and you can click on these chairs and you get a feedback. And note that I can click again on these chairs and I get a different feedback. And I could click again and I would get an even different feedback. So this is something that I don't like in adventure games. That's the repetition when you click too much on hotspots. And I went as far as writing up to 9 different responses per hotspot, depending on the importance of the hotspot. So just like in Serena, you have a mood, right? The protagonist has a mood, and that mood changes throughout the game. So I made sure that each mood has a set of responses for these hotspots. So if the mood changes and you come back and you look at the same thing, you may get a different response that is more in tune with the current, state of mind of the protagonist. So you have lots of responses, lots of small details you can discover in the game. Lots of things you will, lots of secrets that hopefully people will take many years to discover, just like in Scratches. Yes, thank you about the music. The music is the work of my brother, Pablo Cordes. I know that we have a lot to live up to. Cellar of Rats did an incredible work with Scratches, but hang on, you're just listening to one tune here, and I'm really excited about the rest of the soundtrack. My brother keeps making new songs, and they are fantastic. I think that we are on par with the soundtrack of Scratches. I mean, really, this is going to be a very memorable soundtrack as well. Speaking of which, a lot of people ask me about Cellar of Rats. I just had a few words with him some days ago. He's doing okay. He just doesn't like to be in social networks. He's enjoying a sort of retirement from the online world, and well, he says hi, and we really thank Cellar of Rats for the amazing soundtrack he left us with Scratches. And yes, there's going to be an achievement. I mean, if you pay attention and you exhaust the dialogue options and you keep an eye, on stuff, you will have achievements in that regard. Something really, I'm really excited about that. I really like how we implemented achievements. Speaking of which, let me show you this one, for example. So this is the foyer. So we have the visiting room here and the waiting room here. So the idea is people, families of patients, go to the waiting room, and when they are ready to visit them, they go to the visiting room. So let me go here. And for example, so this is an example of a flashback. Here's a calendar, right? And there's nothing on the calendar. If I click here, you start remembering about something. So sorry if this is a bit too dark. We are still tweaking some colors here. So you just remembered about something that happened in the visiting room, and you see the pop-up there saying record book updated. So I'm going to open the record book. I'm going to go to the pages of the achievement, and here you are. So you have just found an important achievement. I mean, this flashback, you can revisit this flashback, you can click on that achievement, and you can just see the video again, okay? This is the same with documents. Documents that you pick will show up here. This is actually 2 pages with lots of documents, okay? So you can always, all the important documents in the game, you can reread them and look for clues. And the idea, what we want to encourage you to do, is that at some point in the game you see a video that reminds you of this character that you just saw here, and you can compare both videos, and you may figure out something about this. In a way, there's a chronology of events, and when you have many videos, you can figure out that chronology. And I'm hoping that there's going to be you're going to have some epiphanies about the story when you put all this information together. We have some random elements too that you can, some random, others not so random, of course. This is actual 3D, and you can rotate elements, these 3D objects, and have a look from every angle. This is going to be very useful in some ways. Now let me show you the waiting room now. Here. Okay, so this is one of the extended loading times. Remember, I'm playing this in Unreal Editor, so sometimes it may take a long time to load new levels. This doesn't happen in the actual game. The loading is much faster in the game itself. It actually works much smoother as well. So for example, we have a book here. This we showed you this in the video from a few days ago. This is the book you can open, but of course there's other books you can read as well. Just as well, you have lots of stuff you can zoom in, just like in Scratches. we encourage you to take a look at all these things, all this information you're going to see in the game. I think this is actually real. These are, for example, reasons of admission for admitting people in an asylum from 2 centuries ago, and some are really weird, and we included our own reasons for admission. For example, if you read here, liking Myst, the adventure game, is a reason to admit you in an asylum. Okay, I think there's consulting, a walkthrough as well, abuse of walkthroughs. Okay, so if you use too many walkthroughs in adventure game, you can be admitted in this asylum. You know, so don't do that, please. Okay, so let me show you here now. Okay. Rumor of Asylum. I'm just reading the chat to make sure. Okay. Where can I pay $60 to buy this game? No. We are thinking between $20 and $30. If you want to give us more money, I have no complaints. But we may create a special edition with extra goodies, such as the soundtrack, for example. We need to figure out the price, but yes, we are going to do that as well. Okay, so let me show you now. Those thoughts that you see as you walk the asylum, the character, it's like he's talking to himself, or he's thinking out loud. So we are going to use that quite a bit as well, as a sort of narration in the game. So when you enter a new location, the character may remember about something, or maybe just drop you a clue or two. You know, we want to establish this idea that the protagonist is always present. So this isn't a blank slate like in Myst, in which you are just an empty shell walking around and doing stuff, at least in the first one. This character has a personality, and we want to make sure that this is very much established between, of course, the feedbacks from hotspots and these thoughts themselves. You know, these thoughts that may happen from time to time and may contain important information as well. So, to give you an idea of size, okay, size in the game. This is the blueprint of the first floor, okay? I'm going to zoom on this map. We are here. This is the intersection between corridor 1A and corridor 1B. So remember that we created this asylum after real blueprints, okay? And we tried to make sure this could actually function as a real asylum. We can't claim that, but that was the intention, okay? So the first moments of the game will take place between this area right here, okay? As you make progress, you will go here for the male patient infirmary. These are the cells. Later in the game, you're going to go to these locations. Okay, we have not all of them. You can enter in all of them. For example, the kitchen is off limits, but pretty much everything you see on the map, you can explore at some point. The major exceptions are all the wings. So we have this male wing. So this is actually true in asylums. This this Kirkbride architecture was called. They separated male patients and female patients into different wings. So each floor has the same wings, and we figured we want. I mean, it doesn't make sense to let you explore the same corridors over and over again, and it's going to be. It would have been a lot of work to us as well to render all these cells here and the same cells here and the same cells in the second floor and in the third floor. So you don't get to explore this area and the same wings in the upper floors. Thankfully, otherwise it would be a very boring game. But anyway, to give you an idea of size, we have 2 more floors like this. So second floor and third floor share the same layout and the same amount of rooms. And then the basement, which is a bit smaller, but there's enough rooms as well. So a huge game that we are never ever doing this again, because it's been an incredible amount of work. I mean, it took us years just to create this virtual environment. It's nuts, really. Okay. About the questions. So the feedbacks from hotspots are only texts, so only subtitles, like in Scratches. We figured that since there's so much stuff you can look at and the protagonist always has something to say, we figured it would be way too annoying to keep hearing the character over and over again. So when you click on a hotspot, that is just subtitles. When you are talking to a character, that will have voiceovers. So during the conversation with Julia, we didn't have voiceovers here because we haven't recorded them yet. But that will have voiceovers, okay? There will be an expansion, yes. After we are done with the main game, we want to create an expansion that we're going to call it Asylum Memories. This is going to be completely optional. This isn't a sequel to the main story. It's something that we want to explore the same setting in broad daylight, and it's going to be different. It's going to be a different story. In fact, it's actually going to be like a separate game, like a spin-off. Maybe it will cost $5 or so. I don't know. We need to figure that out. But since we have such a big location and it looks completely different in broad daylight, we figured it might be interesting to do something about it. And so yes, that is still planned. So more questions. We are already speaking to some people and actors, and I need to get in touch with him. It's been a while since we spoke, but Josh Mandel from Sierra Online fame will be voicing the main protagonist. Josh Mandel did the voice for King Raham in King's Quest and the protagonist in Serena, and we really loved what he did. So yes, we are in touch with actors already. There's no attic. Sorry, we don't have an attic here. What we do have, and unfortunately we can't go now because it's off limits still. I mean, you need to solve puzzles to get there. But there's going to be a lovely greenhouse and a balcony, So in Scratches, if you remember Scratches, there's a point in the game when you go to the basement and you can feel a sort of oppression, like you really want to get the hell out of there because it's a very scary place. So we think we have achieved the same in Asylum, but in a different way, because you sort of make your way upwards. Okay, you begin the game here in the first floor. You immediately go to the basement to solve a couple of things you need to do, and then you keep making you make your way up. At some point in the game, you are in the topmost floor, and something happens, and you realize, oh crap! I mean, that's a long way down. So if something happens here, escaping the asylum won't be easy. And we use that to scare you, of course, which is the whole point of the game. And well, anyway, going back to the balcony, during that moment you can visit the balcony, and you're going to have a lovely view of the grounds surrounding the institute. There's always that tension in the game between really spooky and dread and dusty and oppression, and suddenly there's like glimpses of beauty, you know, that we think it's going to give you hope, you know. In the end, it's hopeless. It's a hopeless game. I really love what's happening in the final moments. Anyway, let me show you how the inventory works a bit more. So, for example, we are here. I'm going to grab this letter opener, and when we do, if I open the notepad, we have a new tab, which is items. I can click this tab, and if I click on the letter opener, the character will show you the item and give you feedback. And this works, and we don't have that many items at the same time. This wasn't the case in Scratches, in which you have a huge inventory at some point in the game. But we try to make it, you know, to rely less on the inventory in the case of Asylum. We have other sorts of puzzles that don't rely such a lot on inventory items. But we do have some inventory puzzles as well. So, for example, I'm going to show you one now. Oh, the diplomas you see here, these are backers that contributed to the game, to the project. We are so thankful for all of you. The amazing help you've given us, and I can't tell you a lot now, but we have an incredible news this week, a really good news for the project, and I'm excited to tell you about it. I think it's going to be not just a really cool news for the project, but for the point-and-click genre in general. We didn't expect this, and I'm looking forward to tell you about it. But anyway, let me show you, for example, we have an item now, and I'm going to, oh, please have a look at this. I love this window. We don't have the sound effect yet, but there's going to be like wave sounds here. And we have lots of details like this in the game that will make you pause and just, you know, enjoy the mood. Let me go to janitor now. And do I have questions? Oh, I mean, we may need new actors. We may do an audition, so you never know. Okay, so just you folks stay tuned about potential beta testing, a potential audition for the game. We're going to need more voices. Water animations. Yes, Miskatonic, and to be fair, I'm not. I want to tone down the references to Lovecraft. I think that we had like way too many Lovecraftian games, and I think it's preferable if we just don't make it too obvious. Asylum is definitely inspired by Lovecraft, and as I like to say, the more the core of Lovecraft, which is the atmosphere, the stories, not so much the tentacles and the stuff, all the stuff he became known for these days. I can tell you that there's a tie, there's an element of the story that has a tie that is tied to a Lovecraft story, and that's all I'm going to say about it. The game is more Lovecraftian than it looks, but we want to consciously tone down the references to Lovecraft, so that Miskatonic Easter egg may go. Sorry about that. And we won't see the art room today. We won't. Sorry. And localizations. We have confirmed. We confirmed a few already. Well, German, of course. Spanish, of course. Italian. Turkish. Greek. At least all the locations where Scratches has lots of fans, and we are receiving requests for Portuguese, Polish. I can't confirm all of these yet, but for sure French as well. So the main ones will be German, French, Italian, Spanish, Greek, and Turkish. Yes, FX, thank you. And actually a few more than FX. And Russian, yeah, of course. Yes, Russian, of course. I mean, it's like our second biggest community of fans, so of course Russian. Yes, absolutely. And yes. Don't worry. Yes, we are going to translate this to Russian, and as many languages as we can. It's really we'd love to bring the game in as many territories as possible. Okay, going back here. It's too dark to see here, so what I'm going to do here is there's something, light switch, and I can turn it on, and we have a blinking light, and we can look at stuff here. And this is a clue, actually. This may look random. I want to show you how the inventory works. And actually, you know what? I won't show you how it works here, so that I don't spoil a puzzle. Okay? I don't want to spoil the game today. So let me just leave here. And I'm going to show you how the inventory works in another screen. So you may notice some, for example, in that transition video, there was a diploma missing. That is actually fixed. We still need to bring these new videos into the game and package everything again. Since we are still rendering some videos, we're going to do that in one batch this week before we send the demo to the backers. So let me go here, this office, and again just a brief download loading screen. Hello to all the newcomers, thank you. Remember, the game takes time to load because I'm running it in the Unreal editor. It's way faster when it's packaged and shipped, as we say. Okay, yes, this is a very good question, thank you. And we have the Ps4 Dev Kit. I got it right here, and we are Sony developers. So yes, it's planned. It's in our plans to bring the game to PlayStation, and I can tell you that it's already working with the gamepad. So right now I could bring a gamepad and control it right here. In fact, we already performed some tests with the Steam Link and the Steam controller, and we're going to support the Xbox controller, PS4 controller, all the major gamepads. It's really straightforward. The interface you see, what I'm doing here now is just moving the mouse, using the mouse to rotate the camera, and click to get the reaction, okay, and secondary click to open the journal, okay. Where with the notepad, with the gamepad, it's the same. I just use one of the hats to move the camera and a button to interact, and it works great. And we even have a touch configuration because the game is already running on iPad. So we are actually we have a version working here, and you can just use the mouse, use your finger to rotate the camera and tap to interact, or use two fingers to open the journal. And we are really excited about this because we think this is a sort of a universal interface, because it really works. It works really well everywhere. You can play it with the mouse on your computer, and just the same you can sit down in front of your TV and grab a gamepad. Personally, I'm really happy with the iPad port. I think that's it's the right platform for the game because it brings a sense of intimacy, and it's really snappy, just with your finger to move around. It works well. But of course, PC is our primary platform, and we made sure it works great with the mouse. So again, we have some items you can see here and rotate and have a look. So this is part of a puzzle of the first major puzzle you have to solve. So you're going to need to figure out this code. There's all sort of clues lying around, and let me show you this now. Alt C, Control C. Okay, added cassette. Okay. So now I have a cassette that you find somewhere. Okay, and let me show you how this works. So we have a hotspot here that accepts an inventory item. This is what the tool, the hand with the tool, represents. Okay, so this is telling you, the player, that you can use an item here if you want to. You can get a feedback as well, or you can open your inventory, which is basically lifting your arm. And since we never have that many items at the same time, we just use the mouse wheel to choose another item. This is similar, I think, to Grim Fandango. I think Grim Fandango had a very similar interface. So we have two items now, so it's really straightforward. But you can have up to 4 items, so it's not such a big deal to pick a different item. When you have the item you want to use, you just click the mouse button and that's it, and you use the item. And again, I don't want to put the recording here because this is something that I want you to discover by yourself. Let me just show you something more. All the documents in the game, okay, we have a complete system to render all the texts in the game, and it took us a while to do it. because we want to make sure that everything is very easy to translate. So I'm making sure that you I think there's a problem here actually, because I have 1 page, 2 pages. Okay, so that last paragraph should have appeared in the previous page. We will figure that out. This text is actually being rendered in real time. All we do is give the engine plain text. So when the time comes to translate all of these, all we have to do is simply, translators will give us the texts, we just replace files, and that's it. We don't have to rework that many graphics or anything like that. It's going to be really quick to translate the whole game. And I don't know if you have any more questions. How much in-game sounds fully rely on sound libraries? Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So we don't have a lot of resources ourselves. We do have many custom sounds, but we do rely on Foley sounds. What we are trying to do, however, is make sure that the Foley sounds we pick are unpopular. And I know it's very annoying to hear the sound effect for an opening door that you've already listened to in TV series or other video games, so we are trying to avoid that. Since we may have extra budget soon, we are thinking about maybe recording even more custom sounds to make sure the game is as custom as it gets. What I can tell you about this is that all the graphics you see, even the skies, we made it all ourselves, right? So we don't rely on any marketplace assets or even plugins. The only plugin we use, it's called Fmod. It's a middleware for audio, but that's it. It's not assets. Do we have books with mixed text and drawings? Yes, we will have some of those books as well. So, okay, this was quite a long stream already. Let me tell you where we are standing now. First, let me drink water because I'm thirsty. Okay. If you have any more pending questions, shoot, because I will be focusing on questions now. But the status. Okay, so we are reaching a key milestone. I mean, we have reached that milestone already. So the framework of the game, what we refer to as the engine that we built on top of Unreal Engine 4, the menu, the ability to save games, to load games, rendering books, all that framework is finished. It's done. I mean, we mostly have small details we need to focus, but that's it. And we have a lot of content already done. I mean, all the graphics of the game are finished. We have exported all these assets that you see, the book here, for example. So we have this graphic, which is the desk, and a book on top of the desk. That book is actually a small patch, a small image that when we pick the book, we make it disappear. And when we put the book down, we show the image again. That is a lot of work. Thankfully, the framework allows us to complete the remaining rooms very, very quickly. So all of these assets are almost ready. We still have some, I mean, broadly, we think that we have about 8 to 10 months of remaining work. So potential release will be beginning mid next year, between June and September maybe. This is again very generally speaking. I'm always hesitant to give estimations of release dates because it's a big project. We are a very small team. We have families now. We don't want to crunch. We are against crunch. I mean, I do work extra myself, but I don't want to have my team doing crunch. So that's something we definitely won't do. But we have a schedule with all these milestones that we achieved, and we think that these 8 to 10 months are realistically we can meet that deadline. So the only major spending work we have left are maybe 3 big cutscenes, that are going to take a while to do. When I say cutscenes, I'm referring to one of the videos that you saw here. We are leaving those videos for the very last moment because from the point of view of programming, they are extremely easy to implement, and they don't require much testing. So the artist is focusing on polishing assets, creating. We're just updating some of the objects. For example, this book that we did for the person that worked in this office. It's a customized book, so we are ensuring that the environment is as detailed and as lively as possible. And so that's the biggest work remaining now, which are those videos. But we are very excited to bring a much bigger chunk of the game to our VIP backers and start getting feedback on the more on the most interesting parts of the story. And about the new questions, so the resolution of the game, to be honest, we are allowing you to change this quality. So if you put it very low quality, the game looks more pixelated, and this is going to feel way faster than if you change the resolution. I don't think we need to allow that in the game, but maybe, I don't know, we need to conduct more tests. You won't win a lot of extra performance by changing the resolution. What the game tries to do is always adapt the screen to the desktop resolution. I don't know, if people really think we need to allow that, then yes, we might, but I don't think it's necessary. I rather have a more neatly organized settings screen. No, I don't want like too many advanced settings and stuff that you need to tweak. I think we have just the right amount of settings. But again, we are always open to feedback, so we'll, based on the tests we do, we just might allow that. Specs, minimum specs. So we have some on Steam that have been updated. I would say that you need 8 gigabytes of RAM, a video card with 2 gigabytes of video card memory, and even a GTX or a 3-year-old Radeon should do. CPU isn't very, it doesn't make such a big difference, so any modern computer that can run Windows 10 should be fine. We are supporting Windows 7. That depends on Unreal Engine, okay? I think it's still supporting Windows 7. In the case of Mac, we will support the oldest version. We will support if High Sierra, I think. That's two previous generations. And in the case of Linux, I don't know. We will support Linux, but basically if Steam runs, Asylum should run, in theory. We still need to conduct a few more tests on Linux, and we are bringing the demo to backers, to Linux backers as well next week. So we'll see how that works. Windows 8.1 should be fine, should be perfectly fine, and that will be it. I don't know if you have any more questions, and sorry about the usual technical issues, as always. I'm very much looking forward to show you more of the game. Okay, we spent 90 minutes today, and maybe if there's interest, I can show you about more about the engine, how we solve some issues, some of the visual effects, for example, how we are creating fog and all those things. So I'm very much looking forward to show you more of the game. One more news. Lots of you have been asking about this, and we know it's been a long time coming. I think that with the least we could do is give you a demo, a public demo. I still haven't figured that out. We might do that. We might launch the demo along with the pre-order, okay? Because we are getting to that point. It's really exciting. And I think we are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We think we can finish the game in the coming months. Really, we can't thank you enough for your patience. This is really a labor of love. We're really thankful for the opportunity to be able to work on such a big project with ensure it has all the things we want to put in the game, all the details. So yeah, I'll be definitely coming back with another live stream, and don't worry, I will upload this video if you missed some bits. And thanks again. I see that we had a lot of people online here, and thanks a lot for being part of this live stream. And if you are a Twitch or YouTube producer, of course, we will send you a preview version, and we are really excited to start showing the game around to press. And yes, I do think I do want to return to Gamescom. Yeah, I really enjoy Gamescom. I hope we can release it before Gamescom, but if not, we will definitely be showing the game and a really big chunk of the game in Gamescom next year. And stick around in our Discord community, follow us on Twitter. We have a lot more to show you, and we are really excited. Asylum is coming along great. We keep receiving great feedback. This is an adventure game that I'm sure you're going to love. I'm really looking forward to hear what you think of the game. So that's it. See you around, and thanks a lot for joining this live stream.